I've played a lot of Lost Skies, both in the demo and early access, and despite having probably close to 100 hours across both, I'm still regularly learning things. Lots of those things I really wish I knew sooner, so here's a compilation of pretty much everything I can think of that's helpful. The video starts with some more advanced stuff, but there's also a later section that gets into the basics too. That and shipbuilding. I put some timestamps in the description for key areas. Enjoy! If you're having trouble with the tank drone, it's probably because you don't know how to properly deal with it. What you want to do is bait out an attack, and while it's recharging, shoot it enough that this red shield right here appears. Once it does that, you yank it, pull it into the ground, and it opens up its weak spots. From there, it's as easy as just shooting it a bunch. You probably want to use Denied Ascension or something once its weak spots are open, since it does more damage though. I'll show that in just a second. That easy. The Nautilus is a fairly rare creature, and you need its parts for upgrades. To get them, you need to draw its attention by aggroing it, and then it'll attack. Once it does, you need to bait out this attack, run back in, and you'll see that its weak spot underneath is opened. Then you can just kill it pretty easily. Easy as that. If you shoot or grapple the Atlas shrimps, they will give you a reduced amount of Atlas dust. But if you grapple up close to them and hit E to interact, they'll give you 3 every time, maximizing your amounts. This is also currently the only way to harvest jellyfish, and this does give you conductive jelly. AA turrets can only be attacked when a ship is in range and they've opened up to shoot at it. Once you see it's opened up, you can hit damage it anywhere. This is also one of the very few sources for heavy power cores in the game. Did you know that you can pick up your Atlas lifters even after they're attached to something? It's as easy as just getting up next to it and picking it back up, and gives it right back to you. If you need to, or just want to, grappling at the ground at an angle and using the hookshot can negate any fall damage. When using the glider, if you hit a wall while in the gliding state, there's a very long ragdoll period afterwards that can make it a bit annoying or tricky to land in properly. But even if you're using the glider, as long as you deactivate it right before you hit the wall, it'll fully cancel that period, even if you hit the wall. Did you know the Herald can respawn? After defeating the Herald, the sky will have these ash particles in it. Even after the destroyed Herald despawns, they'll stay around. But after a long enough time, either in the world or after relogging, it's not really clear which, the Herald can respawn in the same world to be fought again. When it does, the ash particles in the sky will disappear to indicate that it can be found flying around again and fought. I've destroyed the Herald 4 times in this world. Also, when you do destroy a Herald, don't forget to loot it. All the loot spawns on its shell pieces, and I believe that maybe the more pieces you destroy, the more loot you'll get. If you want to know what is, in my opinion, the best way to fight the Herald, then you're in luck. I've already made a whole video on it. Go watch it. But just FYI, set your clouds to the lowest qualities in the settings, and fly around halfway on the altitude meter for easier spotting the Herald. This clouds trick can also show you islands through clouds as well. If you see a sky whale, you can actually go to them and harvest things off of them. On their backs, they have these clusters that are actually Atlas shards. Using the mining tool, you can mine them and pick them up. These deep sky Atlas shards are actually the best ones in the game right now, and on average, every whale will have about 8 to 12. These shards tend to fly away too, so if they do, just be ready to grapple them and pull them back down to you to pick them up. You can deal with the skitter and spitter bugs very easily just by grappling up to something above you and just barely staying out of their reach. It kind of trivializes them, honestly. Atlas core upgrades can be placed on the core itself, not the deck. This can also take a lot of space too. Also, this one's a little bit less of a trick, but don't forget to register to your ship. It can be such a pain when you forget and have to respawn at the Ark a couple islands over. While it's pretty obvious that the weight of a ship affects your top speed, did you know that the length of a ship also affects your turn radius and turn speed? A longer ship turns much slower than a shorter ship, even if they're the same weight. And as you can see with a shorter ship, it turns much, much faster. I added a bunch of stuff to make it the same weight too. Different materials do also give different benefits for an engine. For example, for mechanical internals, you look at the power, it has 500. But if I put it to a worse material, then it drops down to 460. And if I use pure iron, then it goes up to 502. Similarly, different wood materials also affect this. For example, the birch blades have an acceleration of 363, but with pine, 341. There's various trade-offs for all kinds of things. For example, better cloths give sails better lift and speed, and copper and silver will affect the Atlas core's lift capabilities. Wings placed in different orientations can give you different benefits. For example, when placed like this will let you turn left and right faster. When placed on the side of the ship, like this will let you nose up and down faster. Some sails, like this Traveler Stay sail, can also give you better lift benefits. When placed on its side, this will let you ascend and descend with the ship's Atlas core faster as well. Having trouble dismantling your shipyard, either getting left behind or your ship flying off without you? Well, put your ship up, get it undocked, and then in a slight spin, and it won't reattach itself. This gives you plenty of time to dismantle a shipyard in peace without your ship leaving you behind. If all your sails or engines get destroyed, be it in a scuffle with mantas or something else, you're not completely out of luck. Even if you don't have any other means of propulsion on your ship at all, the core itself will give you a little bit of thrust, letting you limp back to the island. As you can see, the speedometer shows almost 5 knots of thrust. In the event that your ship does get destroyed, you'll see that it spawns this nice little orb. Now, what you can actually do is, if you drag this to the shipyard, it will let you repair your entire ship from scratch, even before anything was destroyed on it. And then once it's on the shipyard, all you have to do is hit reconstruct, and your ship is back, good to go. Schematics can be pretty confusing for new players. You need a base schematic, like say a schematic for the scraphead cranker engine to be able to craft them at all. And then once you have those, you can get other schematics to modify them with different parts, like propellers or engine heads. And these schematics that modify them can look like they're for their own engine, but they're not. They're just to modify existing schematics. Also of note, there isn't actually any fuel or heat buildup in the game, so both fuel efficiency and heat resistance stat for all parts can be ignored for right now. We'll see if that changes though. This next one's great for solo players. If you have cannons or machine guns, you can control them from the helm by holding right click. This allows you to control the cannons while not having to leave it, meaning you can turn, navigate, and all that, and shoot at the same time. And like hot swapping weapons, you can also cycle between them, letting you get a really quick volley. This is very situational, but you can avoid the reload time entirely by having 2 weapons and hot swapping between them. Databanks are character based and don't ever refresh on a world once you've scanned them, but chests are not. You can actually go between different worlds and hop between them to farm the chest drops. Or better yet, I'd already fully completed this island and looted it, but they actually refresh after a certain amount of time, as you can see that they're now all obtainable again. While this one is outside the game, there's also a community-made map that has all the islands on it that is extremely helpful for navigation. You can find this either in the Discord or online. Dodge rolling doesn't just dodge, it also gives you immunity frames during the dodge. If you run out of ammo or just want to save ammo, in a pinch you can use the saw or the mining hammer for damaging a turret or enemy. Just be careful about getting hit in between. Also, the saw will give stacking damage if you can get consecutive back-to-back shots. It's pretty well known that if you're climbing and move a direction while jump, it'll move you that way quicker, but if you're not moving anywhere and jump, it'll actually launch you off of the wall. This one isn't that much of a trick, but I would really recommend everyone to go into the controls and rebind grappling both the shoot and disconnect to the same button. It just makes it so much more intuitive to use the grappling hook than having it on 2 separate buttons. If you're having a hard time reaching a grapple point that's right above you, you can go into your settings and turn on grapple free aim. It makes it so that when you hold the grapple button, you detach your cursor from your camera and grapple to anything in view. Obviously, you can't turn your camera during this. If you're running a long distance, you're about out of stamina, if you just grapple to a faraway point and hold reel in while going towards it, you'll start moving at about the same speed as running, saving you the stamina too. If you grapple, then jump while sprinting and use the fast reel, boost, then glide, you can get a lot of speed on flat ground. It's hard to master, but very nice once you do. The key order for me is grapple, shift for sprint, space for jump, F for reel, and space to boost, and finally space again to start gliding. When you're using the glider, it's important to note that it goes in the direction the player character is facing, not necessarily the direction of momentum. If you time it right, canceling your glider just before your stamina runs out, getting a little bit of a boost, and then activating it again will let you massively prolong the gliding time, and this is especially true if you have good stamina regen for this little regen period. This one isn't as much of a trick, but if you're gliding, take off the glider, and grapple before you hit the ground, you'll actually get stuck in the glider animation, and this even continues when you're walking around. If you're doing with the puzzle with the impact switches, but you're out of ammo and can't hit them, you can always use this grappling hook to do it. It works just as well as the gun, and will trigger them just the same. I think you can also use the mining hammer and the saw, but In my opinion, grappling hook is best. If you're doing a relay puzzle and you're not sure how to start it or where the previous node is, you can usually find out by standing on the current one, climbing on top of it, and looking around. Usually the only relay you can see is going to be the one you need. If you're really desperate, there's usually some quote-unquote strategies to beat some of the parkour dungeons. I can only really recommend to use these for genuinely broken puzzles, but I won't stop you. If you get creative, you can use the grappling hook in unintended ways. You can use a cannon to splash damage on impact switches through a wall, build a shipyard inside a puzzle room, or even just downright build a ship inside a puzzle room too. I've heard building a furnace for extra height works, but it's not one I've tried. This one isn't so much of a tip as it's just a fun fact. Did you know that if you haven't destroyed a drone spawner in a world yet, the first one that you destroy will actually spawn the Herald on that island? Now, it's important to note that you cannot fight this Herald though. It's just for looks. Did I miss anything? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask them down there. I'll respond to every comment if it means I can help. Or feel free to join my Discord server. I don't just cover stuff for Lost Skies, but I'd be happy to answer any questions on it. It's also a good place to see my schedule and updates for either videos or when I go live on Twitch, not to mention just joining the community. Also, while you're down there towards the comment section, if you liked the video or found any of it to be helpful, then please feel free to leave a like and maybe even sub for more. Finally, in the description, I have my Twitch link to where I do all of it live, and my VODs channel where everything goes after the fact. But again, I hope you enjoyed. That's all from me today. Till next time, bye bye.